Welcome you to the Tuesday, August 8th meeting of the St. Joseph County Board of Commissioners. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item on the agenda is the accounts payable docket. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you
Aye.
vote? Motion carries.
Next is our recognition of the Employee of the Month.
Our Employee of the Month is Paul Weiser, and it is with great pleasure that we recognize Lieutenant Paul Weiser as the July Employee of the Month for St. Joseph County. Paul's unwavering commitment, exceptional leadership, and dedication to his responsibilities have set an exemplary standard for our members of his team. Paul's dedication extends far beyond the call of duty. He never loses his patience and never hesitates to step into an entry-level position to get a task completed. His position impact on the St. Joseph County Police Civil Division is indelible, and we are proud, so proud, to have him as a shining example of excellence. Congratulations, Lieutenant Weiser, on being named the July Employee of the Month. Your dedication to service is an inspiration to us all. Yay!
Step up to the podium. And anybody else, that one over there first before you come. And anybody else would like to speak about this young man? Anyone?
I was going to say, if somebody wants to speak,
Any little antidote?
anybody else wants to, because
Little story that we know about that you may want to tell or something?
Thank you for honoring me today. It's a pleasure to work for our department. I just try to do my job every day, so it makes it easy when you take pride in what you do. So thank you all very much.
no, thank you.
Be nice.
I will be nice. As you heard from what was read by Commissioner Fleming, this came from one of the officers that actually work underneath Lieutenant Weiser's supervision. So I think that in itself speaks volumes to recognize a department head like that. I know as sheriff, Paul is one of the division commanders that we don't have to call every day and ask if he's doing okay. He just does his job and does it extremely well. It's an important job also. The civil division is oftentimes forgotten about because they're not out arresting people and doing all the notoriety things that makes the news, but they're doing very, very important work in making sure all the subpoenas, court papers are served, sheriff sales, and so on. So Paul leads a great staff, as they're all here with us today, so we can't commend all of them enough for the work that they do behind the scenes. So congratulations to Lieutenant Weiser on this award. It's very well deserved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's get a picture.
And you got your stuff here. Here it comes. Oh, this has to come out too, right? Employee of the month.
Yeah, buddy.
I'm not sure if you gotta get in there. Someone with a real uniform.
Family people come up?
All right. Everybody come up. All civil come up.
Right in front, like a football picture.
Okay.
Stand this way, or are we good? Sheriff said you get the rest of the week off, is that correct?
That's true. Thank you guys very much.
Well, what a country, buddy, huh?
Good job, man.
I'll make sure, but yeah, you can email it to.
Can't make it up, man. Cannot make it up. Stop and breathe. Kara, you too, stop it. Deb?
Hopefully they do. Yeah, it was good seeing you.
Next item on the agenda is appointment to the Area Board of Zoning Appeals. First, do we have open for nominations?
The nomination would be Tom Byers.
Any other nominations? If not, close the nominations. Do we have a motion to approve Tom Byers to be appointed to the Area Board of Zoning Appeals?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Approval of the Hospital Authority revenue bonds.
Mr. President, Commissioners, Phil Facenda from Bars and Thornburg, 201 South Main Street, South Bend. What's before you is a resolution/excerpt of minutes that you might be used to from prior financings that were done, in particular for Beacon Health System through the St. Joseph County Hospital Authority. What this financing is about, and the reason I'm here today is on behalf of Beacon, is these are 2016 bonds, and those bonds were under a initial term period that ends at the end of next week on August 18th, 2023. The Beacon has determined to stay with their current bank, which is TD Bank, and they are essentially refinancing those bonds. And by doing so, the bonds are being reissued under the federal tax laws. So we had to conduct another public hearing at the Hospital Authority. And since the Hospital Authority has no elected members, this body is the elected members under the federal tax code for approval of that refinancing. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions?
No questions, but I
Okay.
just want you to know, oh my gosh, guess where I was born? Memorial Hospital.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, been there a lot.
And they're still at it,
Yeah.
thank God.
There being no other questions or comments, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you
Aye.
vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Best wishes.
Moving on. Thank you. Moving on to infrastructure planning and growth. Employment, approval of employment contract. Mr. Metters.
Sky Meadows Department of Infrastructure, Planning and Growth, offices on the 7th and 11th floor of this building. What you have before you is, as it says there, employment contract for Matt Longfellow. What it does is it starts off his vacation accruement. Instead of the typical 2 weeks we have, we negotiated 3 weeks with him to get him to come on board. He's been working for quite a while, so that's typical for someone of his tenure with working, is to have 3 weeks of vacation. So that's what the employment contract does. Be happy to take any questions.
Any questions? If not, do we have a motion to approve the employment contract with Matthew Longfellow?
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner
Aye.
Dieter, how do you vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next is approval of bid award for the South Granger resurfacing.
What we have here is the approval. Okay, it is what I thought. The approval for the bid award for the resurfacing project was, we received 2 bids from Reith Riley Milestone Construction. Reith Riley was the low bidder in the amount of $2,063,678.45. We've reviewed this and we recommend that you award the project to the low bidder, Reith Riley. Happy to answer any questions.
And how much surface will this do, miles?
7 miles, about 7 miles.
Pretty expensive stuff.
Yes, it is. And it's not getting any cheaper. And we aren't getting rid of roads, so it gets harder and harder to do.
The bids were quite close, so it's indicative of the bidding climate as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
Any other questions or comments? Otherwise, do we have a motion to approve the bid award for the Granger Roads resurfacing and rehabilitation
For Reith Riley.
for Reith Riley?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next is approval of amendment number 2 to the preliminary engineering services agreement for the Pierce Road project.
What this item here is our Pierce Road project from New 31 to east to Miami. This is change order number 2 for the preliminary engineering. What there was there's an increase in the number of parcels that required some work, and we had to revise some plots in the right-of-way. And then also, too, there was a mathematical error in the original agreement. So after correcting all that and adding the items for the additional plots that we had to do, it ends up being a decrease in the overall contract amount of $65,000 with a new not to exceed of $1,279,350. We've reviewed this and recommend approval.
Nice to have one with a decrease for a change.
Yeah, that's it. Whenever there's a math error, it's best that it goes that way.
Glad it was caught.
Yes.
We're saving some money. Yay.
Any other questions regarding?
Negative.
If not, do we have a motion to approve the preliminary engineering services agreement number 2 for the Pierce Road project?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item, approval of an engineering services agreement for the bridge rehab of the St. Joseph County Bridge on Auten Road.
Yeah, this is the professional engineering agreement with Lockmuller to do the design of that bridge. We have federal funding for the construction of, we've received $5 million for federal funding for that, which will be an 80-20 match. We are doing the engineering with all local funds because only the construction got approved through the state. So what this is an agreement in the amount of $764,715,000 for all the design, permitting, and prep of the contract documents for that project. Funds are available through American Rescue Plan and Major Cume Bridge Fund. Happy to answer any questions.
So that's, will that bridge have to close while they're doing that?
Yes, yeah. It's a complete, they're going to tear the whole superstructure off and build it back up. So Auten will be closed whenever that happens. It'll be in 2027.
What?
2027.
I won't be here, so. Whoever did the Angela Bridge did an awesome job, by the way.
Thank you. That was Milestone Contractors, and they got done a month early and really hit it hard. So they did a great job
It's
for
football
us.
season, dude.
I know.
You think it was gonna be done?
Yeah, I was hoping it would.
Well, this bridge certainly needs it, so glad we're moving forward on that. Any other questions or comments? If not, do we have a motion to approve the engineering services agreement with the Lockmuller Group for the St. Joseph County Bridge on Auten Road?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote? Aye. Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next is approval of an amendment to the engineering services agreement for the roundabout intersection improvement at Cleveland and Beach.
What this amendment does is we needed an additional infiltration test for a basin we're looking to put out there, and then also we had to add lighting design to the contract. There were items in the original contract that we ended up not using, or we didn't use the total amount of, so we ended up moving money around from different tasks, and so this change order is actually a decrease of $3,100 in the overall amount. So we're adding those items but decreasing the amount, $3,100 to $419,460. Happy to answer any questions.
You're just angling for that Employee of the Month award. Two
Well,
decreases.
we still got two more to go, and they're not in that direction. So,
It's unusual. Any questions or comments on this amendment to the engineering services agreement? If not, do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next, approval of amendment number 2 to the right-of-way services agreement for the Pierce Road reconstruction.
this is for as you said, the right-of-way services agreement. The previous one was for the preliminary engineering agreement. This was a supplement we had to do because of the increase in number of parcels from originally what we anticipated. And this increase is for an additional $28,000. So this is adding money instead of getting rid of like we were previously. So adding $28,000 for not to exceed fee of $128,381. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? If not, do we have a motion to approve the amendment number 2 to the right-of-way services agreement for Pierce Road reconstruction?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Finally, we have approval of the engineering services supplemental agreement number 2 for Douglas Road reconstruction.
Yes. This is for our Douglas Road project from Ivy to 23. That is nearing completion, thank goodness. A lot of hard work and heartache has gone into this one, and to finally get it completed. There were a lot of utility issues early on that we had to work through, and some other things. And our consultant for the design was DLZ Construction, and they assisted us in a lot of those issues that came up during construction that had to deal with the design. And what this change order here is for those additional items that they had to help us out on. And it is in the amount of $90,000, this supplemental. We've reviewed it, and everything seems reasonable for what we had asked them to do. And we got funds available in existing accounts, and recommend your approval, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Sky, you kind of alluded to it. How are we doing on the timeline for completion of this project?
It is actually, for all the delays that we had because of utilities, they really pressed when they were able to get in, and we're actually, I don't know the exact date, but we're pretty much close to what we had originally anticipated for completion date. So, yeah, I don't know what the exact date is. I don't want to throw one out with it being so close to football season, but we hope to get the road open as soon as possible. So, but they're
We encountered some bad soils out there
yeah,
as well.
we encountered bad soils, some utilities that we didn't know about because they were never marked, and so we had to deal with that. And then also just some utilities not sticking to their obligations that they said that they would do, and it held us up. So, but we were able to push through it and get it done.
Well, it's going to be good to get that
It-
section done.
It is, it is. If you drive it now, the section's already been done, it's really nice. Get that new section done, it'll be really good.
Any questions, comments? If not, do we have a motion to approve the engineering services supplemental agreement number 2 for the Douglas Road reconstruction project?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we move on to public comment, I just want to note that the meeting Commissioners' meeting next week that is scheduled for the evening meeting is going to be held at 10 o'clock to avoid a conflict with hearings on the budget. So next week should be at 6, it's going to be at 10 in the morning. Moving on to public comments. Does anybody wish to speak?
Good morning. Dan Caruso, 305 Compton Street, New Carlisle. I just want to call attention to a public notice from Indiana Department of Environmental Management regarding the relocation of the Nespazzani ditch, which involves moving it, instead of running diagonally across the property from the northwest to the southeast, where the battery plant's going to be built, is going to be running it directly east along Early Road, then directly south along Spruce Road, under a new bridge, sort of, at Fillmore Road, and then joining in with the existing undercrossing at US 2, just west of Larison Road. There was initially late 2020, early 2021, when the county acquired those properties at the corner of Willow Road and State Road 2, a discussion about running the ditch straight down alongside Willow Road, under State Road 2 there, to catch possible backup from water from Navistar Proving Grounds, where they were testing the autonomous truck, the driverless truck, on a new 40 acres of paved property, which they were concerned about the runoff from there, where it was going to go, whether it was going to flood those fields to the east there. And I'm just curious as to where that plan went, why that didn't go through, because it was also going to be a retention pond on the part of the property that the county owned, in case there was too much water running into what would have been the Nespazzani ditch along the edge there, to back up under State Road 2 into a retention pond. And it was to provide some screening for those 5 remaining houses on the west side of Willow Road. I understand the current plan is to only spend $442,800 for this relocation of the ditch. I'm just concerned that we seem to be throwing money just because we got money. It seems to me the original plan on why they purchased that property on State Road 2 and Willow Road to put in the retention pond and screening was what should have continued, it should be given an explanation on why that plan was scrapped, because I can pretty much bet we're going to hear in a rainy season, we didn't know that there was going to be that much water coming off the Navistar Proving Grounds and flooding those fields immediately to the east there, when they knew it, because they had originally planned to run the Nespazzani ditch through there with a retention pond back the other way in case that happened. Now all of a sudden that's scrapped. So I think those are my questions about the public notice. And if anybody has questions, you have till the 24th of August to your concerns, your ideas to item. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else here wish to offer a public comment? If not, we'll move to those online. Anybody have a comment to make? Okay. There seeing none, make a motion to recess. Do we have a motion to recess?
So moved.
And thank you, Officer Cromer, for the great job. I'll second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
We're recessed.
Thank you all.
Recording stopped.